I'm running away from the past I left behind. I'm looking for answers, but I'm blinded by the light. I'm lost in the music, can I stay here for the night? I promise I'll be gone in the morning, out of sight and out of mind. No blind, out of sight and out of mind. No standing still. It's like you're stuck in a nightmare, but you keep doing it for the thrill. Well, this is reality, you only live it once, so wake up from your dream. But just for tonight, let the lines get blurred, let your thoughts be free, let your thoughts be free.
Hello and good evening, everybody. How's it going? Just not long finished watching the video upload that Steve-O and Dan did from the seaside in Torbay. Hopefully you can hear me okay and everything's coming through okay. Let me know, please do. But yeah, guys, how's it going? It's been a while since we last did a live stream on this channel. People ask in the comments all the time when the next live stream will be. And today I just figured instead of just doing a video reaction to the video of Dan and Steve-O previewing Game Week 21, I thought, why not just do a live stream and see if we can get some people on the Discord at some point in the evening. Who knows? Let's see. You guys have asked for it. See what happens. So yeah, Game Week 20 is over, and we now look towards Game Week 21. I wildcarded and was overall happy with the way that my team performed. Obviously, Kevin De Bruyne didn't play the 2 games. Which was disappointing. What a game it was yesterday. Last night, City Tottenham, incredible game. City getting booed off at half time. Can you remember that? Getting booed off after that first half performance where Tottenham went 2-0 up. I thought, wow, is this the game where Perisic gives me a return? Is it like, you know, yeah, we all know how that turned out in the end. He came very close to scoring in that game, incredibly close. If you watch the game, you'll know. The ball broke out to the left-hand side. It fell to Perisic, and he had a shot that was blocked. I think it was the young kid, Lewis, that got the block in and blocked it onto the frame of the goal. And I was just thought, when that happened, I thought, yeah, this isn't going to go my way. And obviously Kevin De Bruyne never stepped onto the pitch either, which, you know, it's one of those things. But he's had his rest now, so going forward, I assume that KDB will be, you know, getting a lot of minutes under Pep. And Steve-O mentioned him in his video talking about KDB and potentially captaining him come game week 21. I won't be doing that, but of course, the major talking points is City obviously did get the win, narrowed the gap to 5 points, second place. Obviously, Arsenal have got that game in hand. Big game this weekend. Arsenal hosting Man United. Massive game. Obviously, I want to see us beat Arsenal. And if we do that, it throws the league title. Well, it throws the competitiveness up for the title race up. And I think a lot of people, I think even including a lot of Arsenal fans, still think that City have got what it takes to over the course of a season win the title. But you know, Arteta and obviously the motivation and the players is there to be, you know, for all to see. If they can keep their squad fit and healthy, free of injuries, then who knows? They could be another Leicester, couldn't they? They could be the 2022 Leicester, 2022-2023 Leicester team that nobody really considered them at the beginning of the season to be title, you know, contenders or certainly up there in the mix. And Arteta's done a great job. Partey's come along really well. Odegaard has been a massive fulcrum in that team, and yeah, just I mean, to only have lost one game this season. 18 games played. It's a big testament to Arteta and the way he set up the team. And obviously, United did win in the reverse fixture, but there's a big but. Momentum is behind Arsenal. Momentum is a big thing. Belief is a big thing. And I think it's going to be a really tough game. At the Emirates, I will get to my thoughts on the predictions on the score shortly. Oh, thank you, Max. 8 points this week. Wildcard active. Oh, Max, you have to let me know who you got getting in your wildcard. Hello, everybody. Hello to Dread. Hello, Dan, in the chat. Cinnamon, let me know what your thoughts. So I watched your predictions video, and yeah, I don't think a draw is going to be on the cards, to be honest. Weghorst wasn't a strange signing. It's what you do when you're desperate to bring in players, but you haven't got the money to do so. You go for loanies, and you go for cheap ways of getting players in, and you're papering over cracks. That's the United way. And it's been like that for a number of seasons now. When you know it's just what we do. So anyway, hello Ramanathan, how's it going, man? Join the Dread's link to the Discord there. Join the Discord if you want to come on. Jump in the Discord and jump into the waiting room. I'll be happy to talk to you. Max, maybe we'll speak to you about your wild card. Anyway, quick just rundown about how my game week went. So my game week 20 wild cards went okay. I think anyone that gets 90 points on a wild card, you know, it's not, you can't really turn your nose up at that, to be honest. De Gea got me save points. Obviously, very unfortunate not to get that double Man United clean sheet. That Elise free kick was absolutely ridiculous. Hello, Brew. And, you know, I think everybody expected, you know, in the dying embers of that game, United to just get that 3 points. It was a very controlled game. For the majority of the game was controlled by United. De Gea made some great saves, of course, but ultimately a moment of brilliance, a free kick that no goalkeeper in the world would be able to save, beats De Gea, and yeah, double clean sheet wiped out. But all in all, Perisic obviously missing that chance. It could have been a bit different in my back line there. But we go to the midfield, points from Mahrez, Rashford, of course, De Bruyne getting the assist. It seems like a year ago now that game happened. And obviously all my attackers getting me some form of attacking returns. Very happy that I've got in on Tony. I saw he went up in value last night as well. 7.6 now, I believe, which is I'm pretty happy with. I won't be jumping on the Weghorst train anytime soon. Don't worry about that. I heard again that one of the content creators brought him in. Bit early for that, to be honest. A bit premature. But yeah, all in all, points on the bench. Look at this. Mitoma 6 points, Bueno 6 points, White 8 points. You know, should have played them over Perisic and Martinez and Shaw. You know, it would have been perfect. But you know, all in all, I'm very happy with the points I've got. I'm happy with the players I've got. I do have a bit of a dilemma going into Game Week 21. I want to play Mitoma, but it's going to mean benching Martinelli. This is my Game Week 21 team. There we go. Game Week 21 team, De Gea in goal, Perisic, Trippier and Shaw, Rashford, Mahrez, Mitoma, De Bruyne, Kane, Tony and Haaland. Some would argue play Martinelli over maybe Mitoma, but to be fair, Mitoma's in form. And maybe even play Ben White and to kind of hedge my bets. So have one United and one Arsenal defender there instead of doubling up on Man United. But, you know, as a United fan, in my heart, I want to think that we can keep a clean sheet, but my brain says that we're not keeping a clean sheet purely because of the fact that it's Arsenal and Arsenal are at home. And yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I don't know whether I'm going to play Martinelli or whether I'm going to bench Martinelli. I've got the team like this at the moment. Will it change? Possibly. Will I be making any transfers? No, I will not be making any transfers. So Steve-O, don't be worried. I'm not going to bring in anyone that you're bringing in. I'm going to block you off. I'm making no transfers. I'm going into 22 with 2 free transfers. I've got ideas of what I'm going to do with those free transfers. So yeah, I'm very happy with my team going forward. Jumping in 5 minutes. No worries, man. No worries. All good, dude. All good. So yeah, just a rundown through the scores. So, you know, big surprises this week were really Brighton beating Liverpool 3-0 again, just further showing their quality on the field and demonstrating Liverpool's woes even more. I mean, other surprises really this game week that stand out to me were, I would say probably the Palace Man United result being 1-1. Surprised at that. Ready whenever you are. No worries, man. No worries. But as we look towards the next week's fixtures, I'm looking at this Liverpool-Chelsea game. I want to start to see Liverpool turn around. I want to see them get back to winning ways with like relentless. I don't see it happening, but like just relentless attack. Mohamed Salah, you know, returning to form again. Because I've got Kane money at the end of the day, and I'm not wanting to keep Kane long term. I mean, after this Fulham game, I think Kane's going to be gone for me. I mean, looking at the fixtures for Kane, he's got Man City 22, Leicester. I mean, the fixtures are there for Kane. The fixtures are there, admittedly. So I've got decisions to make on Kane. Like, do I keep him? Do I move him on? All yet to be considered. Anyway, let's see if we got Max here in the Discord. We do. One moment, Max. Let me just sort you out. 2 seconds, dude. 2 seconds. Just stop that a sec. Right, here we go. Right, Max. Say hello. Hello, Max. Can you hear me? Oh dear, Max. What's going on? he's left the Discord. He'll probably be coming back in a minute. Anyway, hello Animations. How's it going, man? How's it going? What's new? What's new with you? How you doing in FPL? We're gonna go through the mini leagues shortly as well. Let's see if we can get Max on. No idea why my Discord does this. Try again. Okay, cool. No worries, Max. Hey, Max.
Hello?
Hello.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Oh, I can hear you now, mate. Yeah, no, good. All good, man. All good.
I'm watching the stream, and then you put me into the Discord, it doesn't work, and I come out when it works again, so it's just, I don't know why.
Are you watching the stream on your phone and being on the Discord on your phone?
Yeah, that's probably why.
That's probably why it's sharing your audio permissions or something. That's why.
Yeah. How are you?
Yeah, good, man. Very good. I'm just, looking at this next upcoming game week. No issues on my team. No flags. No fires to put out on my team. So I'm kind of relaxed at the moment. I feel pretty calm and relaxed for game week 20 to 21. But I don't know what other people are feeling like. I mean, certainly you've wildcarded, so you've obviously felt that you do have, or did have, issues in your team that you wanted to address. You hit the wild card, and I'm sure lots of people will be interested in hearing why you've hit the wild card and what you're doing with that wild card. First of all, why did you hit the wild card?
Well, it's mainly down to my position in my mini leagues, and the Man City game last night. I've kind of been sticking with Cancelo for the last 3 game weeks, just thinking he's going to get back in, and he's just not got back in.
So you get 88 points.
Yeah. So I posted my team for this week.
Yeah, I've got it. Yeah, I've got it on the screen. I've got it on the screen now. So you got 88 points.
Yeah.
I mean,
so
that's you triple captain Rashford. Looking at your team, would it have been? Did you make a transfer that particular week?
I didn't, which is even worse.
So you had 2 free transfers going into this week. And
yes.
You've wildcarded.
Yeah.
I'll let you explain instead of talking over you. So why did you do it?
So the main thing I wanted to change was that Martinelli, for me, and people are probably going to disagree with this, is not getting in the positions that I want him to be in from an attacking perspective. And I want to go to triple Arsenal.
Didn't you have Odegaard?
I did at one point, yeah. When I was branding him the KDB
you were ahead of everybody on Odegaard.
Yeah, and then again, because basically I had a really bad 5 or 6 early game weeks, and I've just been playing catch up ever since, and now I'm just trying to take risks that I think that are obviously a little bit risky, but they could pay off if I get them correct. Because at the moment, like, I think, to be honest, if I was, let's say, 200k in the world, I'd have captained Haaland this week. I'm not going to lie and say that Rashford was an inspired decision. It was a decision that I thought, I think he can do well, but I also need to make points on the 50% of the game that are going to captain Haaland and triple captain him. So I can't play that like I made a great decision. It was more the fact of I need to win some points back here, which luckily I did. But my wildcard is based on the fact that I'm picking players that I think can get me up the ranks. And at this point in time, I'm like 2.5 mil or something like that. It really makes no difference to me whether I end up 4 million or not.
Steve-O criticised my wildcard, saying that I had brought in just basically template players, so I wasn't making the most of my wildcard because I wasn't going to be bringing in players that were going to do, weren't going to enable me to necessarily climb up the rankings because they were so popular. So I'll switch. So this is your team that got the points, 88 points. Kepa, Trippier, Gabriel, Cancelo, Rashford, Garnacho, Martinelli, De Bruyne, Pereira, obviously, Haaland and Wilson. Unhappy with Cancelo, you mentioned just a moment ago. I like the Garnacho pick. I think Garnacho is going to be very important for United second half of the season. Let's wait and see. but this is your wildcard team then. So
it looks dreadful, but
who's in goal?
Edison. I just couldn't fit that on the picture. So I'm still on triple Man City. I just don't have Cancelo.
Triple Man City, triple Arsenal, triple Brighton.
Yeah.
Are you putting too many eggs in very few baskets?
Again, it's a case of I have to gamble at this point. If I was much higher up the rankings and I don't do these moves.
You're not going to bench Rashford against Arsenal, surely.
It's a debate.
You're going to bench Rashford and play McAllister.
So I'm assuming you watched the Man United game.
Yes, I did. Yes.
Rashford's been fantastic for the past.
He is due an off game. You have to allow even world class players an off game.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I'm not debating that whatsoever.
And against teams that are going to sit back, like Crystal Palace, no disrespect to them, they are going to sit back. They are going to force you to attack them because they want to soak pressure and break on you. Against Arsenal, they're not going to sit back and expect pressure. They are going to be playing a relatively high line. They're going to have majority of possession, and on the transition, Man United are very good. So I would argue you are reading that wrong. That performance against Palace was poor. Obviously, Rashford being a striker down the middle is not his optimal position. Rashford up against opposition that is sitting back, inviting pressure is not his ideal opposition. Rashford against Man City, against Tottenham, against Arsenal, brilliant. Against Newcastle, brilliant.
I guess my counter argument to that is that, again, it's the same thing with Martinelli. I felt Rashford was too wide in that game against Palace, and obviously we can make the argument that it's against Palace, etc., etc. And when I'm not convinced that if they start Weghorst in the next game, that actually helps Rashford. I think that makes Rashford a worse option. To be honest, I actually prefer, and I know we can make this debate about Rashford being better off on the left wing versus up front. However, I felt like when Weghorst came off in that game, Rashford had a lot more chances in front of goal. I think the problem was he was knackered at that point, and he couldn't get onto those chances.
I still, regardless of your argument, I still think that even with that feeling that you've got with Rashford, playing McAllister over him is quite insulting, to be fair.
Well, again, the team is not set in stone, but I'm going to play double Brighton assets. It just depends whether I play McAllister. I'm going to play Dunk. It just depends whether I play McAllister or Ferguson. And Rashford maybe they come in for one of those two players.
Okay, well, interestingly, Steve-O was thinking about starting Ward, so he doesn't think that Brighton are going to necessarily score in that game. But going triple Brighton, I still think is a bit overkill. I understand people obviously seeing Brighton the way they're performing, they're playing very, very well. But to sacrifice 3 FPL positions for purely Brighton, I don't think is necessarily the optimal move. I certainly wouldn't be benching Rashford up. I mean, the rest of it, let's quickly look over this. Right, so Edison goal, Dunk, Trippier, me. So Money not in the defence at all. Obviously Shaw on the bench, Bueno on the bench, Odegaard, De Bruyne, Saka, very, very important players for their respective teams. McAllister, just the one that for me that just stands out as being an unnecessary pick, or certainly a bench option. What's the price of McAllister? Is he like 5.2,
5.4 maybe, something like that.
So yeah.
I've got 2.2 mil in the bank. Like, this team is not
right.
Getting me out.
Thoughts on Tony at all as an option, or maybe you've got Nketiah in. So yeah, I mean, thoughts that, like, when you're doing your wild card, what draft is this for right now? Is this your first draft, or certainly your your first sort of early draft, or how much leeway or flexibility is in your decision making?
Like I'm never locked in until a minute before the deadline, but I've tried to pick players that I feel like are in the top teams that are doing well so far, but they're not highly earned. I think when everyone did their World Cup wildcard, most people went for Martinelli just because he was like 1.2 cheaper. And I think I was exactly the same because my budget is short anyway. But I think Saka is the much better option. I don't know if it's a much better option in terms of 1.2 million's worth, but I think I think Saka is now a differential because people have got Martinelli. And if I have Odegaard's someone people are jumping onto, but it's not an easy swap from Martinelli, or you're not going to swap Martinelli for Odegaard, more than likely. And it depends who else you want to bring into your team.
Well, you've got no Liverpool. You've got no Liverpool. You've got no Newcastle. Oh, you've got Trippier. You've got no Newcastle attacking options. You've got no Spurs. And looking at your, Cinnamon's making, the question: 9 players from 3 teams. What's your plan when they play each other?
I hope they bang. I'm not going to come on here and say that this team is perfect, because it's not. It's a gamble team. That's exactly what it is.
What made you go McAllister over Mitoma?
Mitoma's not one I'm convinced is going to keep his place. That could be wrong.
He's insane. Have you watched him?
Yeah, he's very, very good. But McAllister's just won the World Cup.
Yes, but he was part of the team that won the World Cup. I wouldn't say that he.
Yes, but
necessarily
watching the World Cup, McAllister got a lot of plaudits for his performances, and I don't think he's jumping out of that Brian.
Okay, that's fair enough. He's a World Cup winner. I appreciate that, but still, Brighton McAllister is incomparable to Argentina McAllister. They're completely 2 different teams. They play two separate. They play the game in 2 separate ways. I wouldn't compare their play styles. Even the positioning of McAllister is completely different. But I like the look of Mitoma, and the reason I bring it up is he's a bit cheaper. It may give you a bit more flexibility within your team. I think
he's like 0.5.
And if you're gonna bench him, it may be better to bench a Mitoma than to bench someone that's 5.5. For example.
Yeah.
But anyway. Personally, I wouldn't be going with 3 Brighton on a wild card. I'm going to go against popular opinion now, but I wouldn't be going double Arsenal midfield. I think I would choose one of Odegaard or Saka, Nketiah, and if I was going to go triple up Arsenal, I'd probably bring in a defender as my third option. I wouldn't necessarily sacrifice 2 midfield slots, even though they are good value. They do pose good value. I just think that I think there's some tweaks to this that you could probably improve the overall balance of your wildcard team. But I'm very aware that you're probably not wanting to bring in and to retain players that you had pre wildcard. So that's why you've gone a little bit away from, say, what you had before in the team. But yeah, let's just reading some of the messages that the chat have said. Matt Henley doesn't think that Mitoma is going to get dropped. Where's Rico Henry? Says Animations.
Oh, that's a good point. I think Rico Henry was injured. I think I did look at him, to be honest, but yeah. No, I think what people have got to just bear in mind is that this is not a team I would build if I was 200k in the world. This is the team I'm building because I'm 2.6 million. And
okay, but your differentials are Ferguson. He's going to be competing with minutes with Welbeck, right? Welbeck's back now.
Well, so Ferguson's got, I think he's got like 18 points in the last 3 games.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, but he's had those points. They are history now. They're in the part of the past. We're talking about going forward. Are you comfortable in? I mean, he's 4.5, isn't he? 4.6. He's cheap as chips, right? So really, he's basically a bench fodder spot that's playing, and been over. Some would argue been overperforming. So really, like your differentials are Ferguson. Lots of people are jumping on Nketiah now. McAllister's another differential.
Saka, Odegaard.
Saka. I mean, Odegaard, not so much. Like on Fantasy Football Scout, pretty much every team I see in there posting in there now has got Odegaard in their team. I think Odegaard's being transferred in by quite a lot of FPL managers. Serious.
Are people transferring him in for Martinelli, or are they transferring him in for another asset?
Yeah, I don't know is the question, but is the answer to that question. But let's quickly have a look at Odegaard.
You see, Odegaard was Xhaka at one point.
Odegaard is owned by 28.6% of the game. I'd argue that majority of those are active, serious FPL managers. So where are you ranked at the moment in the world?
Like I say, I'm like 2.5, 2.6 or something like that.
Million?
Yeah.
So yeah, you're still going to gain a lot by him doing well, because I would say that a lot of people 1 million or 500,000 below probably don't have him in their teams.
That's what I mean. Like I said, it's irrelevant to me if I finish 5 million. Like, I either want to finish like top 100, 200k, or it doesn't matter. So I'd rather take that gamble that it pays off and I end up doing well, or I just go further down the leaderboards, which again is irrelevant at 2.6 million.
Yeah. Hey, Michael Svedin. Trossard's gone, is he? Is he?
Yeah, he's gone to Arsenal.
Has it been confirmed?
Yes, I believe. Well, Fabrizio Romano, who is like the main guy for.
Let's have a quick look. Well, Fabrizio Romano's tweeted out, is he?
No, he's on Instagram usually, but yeah.
Welcome to Arsenal. Yeah, Arsenal tweeted out, welcome to Arsenal, Trossard 2 hours ago.
Yeah.
Arsenal.com, Arsenal Twitter tweeting out. Great. What a signing that is.
Which also gives me concern for Martinelli, to be honest. I think Martinelli's prime position now as a starter, don't get me wrong, but I think he's the one that's rotation when Trossard comes into the fold. No. Yeah. I think Saka's nailed.
Well, he's got options now, isn't he, Arteta?
Yeah.
In that wing, in that sort of the wide area, he's got better option. Well, he's got a better option in Trossard, and yeah, that's a big signing for Arsenal. It's a big signing.
I think anyone who owns Martinelli at this point has to be slightly concerned for his place. I'm not saying that Trossard would jump straight into the team.
But for minutes wise, he might only play 60 minutes now.
Yeah, exactly. Subbed, or he might start 2 out of 3 games, and Trossard might start one.
Yeah, and then come on for Trossard. Yeah, so you make a very good point. You make a very, very good point, and food for thought for FPL managers, indeed. So I think your wildcard team is not quite there, but I mean, it doesn't matter what I think. It's about what you think. And if you're bullish, as Steve would say, on Brighton and want to go triple up Brighton, triple up Arsenal in such a way, and obviously triple up Man City, which I don't think is a bad thing at all. The players it does leave you with is Marcus Rashford. Yeah, good for the price form. Luke Shaw, good for the form that he's in, and you'd expect at some point him to be playing back in the left back role, and Martinez to be integrated back in permanently. So again, his attacking output is increased at that. He's still very much an attacking threat. And yeah, Bueno, who's a cheapie that's playing. So yeah, and Ben Mee, in that Brentford team, very strong Brentford team. Yes, I would say that the rest of your team's fine. I just think that maybe it'll give you headaches with that team going forward. You're going to have to bench one of a Brighton, a Man United, or Arsenal asset every single week, and you're going to have to.
The thing is, I'm not bothered about benching Ferguson. That's fine, or I'm not really bothered about benching McAllister. I need this team to have 4 or 5 differentials that have the potential to get those points. And it's finding those players that are those differentials that are going to get those points. And Odegaard's a strange one for me because I feel like if the Martinelli thing does come true, what I'm saying, and Trossard does take minutes from him, the obvious swap is going to be Martinelli to Odegaard, which is a little bit concerning. So I may have to move Odegaard onto somebody else.
Well, Odegaard is certainly the route that Arsenal take in all of their attacks. So I certainly think that if Martinelli owners are looking at swapping him out, Odegaard is there. He's in that price bracket.
Yeah, and that just means that maybe if that does happen, I'll maybe swap Odegaard to somebody else to try and again be more differential and create points other ways.
6.8, he's risen in price, so it's not a straight swap. People are going to need money in the bank to do it. But he's gone up in price quite considerably. I mean, game week 18, so 2 game weeks ago, he was 6.5. He's up to 6.8 now.
I think I had him at like 6 when I originally had him in, but he's
never been 6.
Has he never been? Oh well, I had him cheap.
The lowest he was been 6.4.
6.4, yeah.
But I think him.
I could have kept him, but he goes in spurts. He's kind of one of the FPL players where he goes like 2 points, 2 points, 8, 11, 2, 10, 13, 1. Do you know? And he's a fantastic player, don't get me wrong, but I say, I think people are going to have money from Cancelo. I think that's what changes, which is going to give people funds for the Odegaard move.
I certainly wouldn't be taking a -4 to do that move if anyone's got Martinelli and's concerned about his minutes. I wouldn't be concerned immediately about the minutes. Okay. You need to wait to see how Arteta is going to play Trossard and what his plans are for Trossard before you make any decisions. Don't go reacting off of that. But I see Warfare's in the waiting room. If you're wanting to stay up here, Max, you can kind of be a co-host. We'll get Warfare up onto the stage. Hey, Warfare man, how's it going? Long time no speak.
Hello, my friends. I missed this.
Hello. Been a while since we did a live stream. I said earlier on at the start of the show was people commenting saying, "Where's the live streams gone? Where's the live?" So we've got the live stream going, and it's great. I'm really grateful for you and Max coming up, and like nothing beats getting callers up and just chatting about your prior game week, your game week coming up, and whether or not you're using a chip. In fact, Max used 2 trips. He used his triple captain on Rashford. Quick question before we get to you, Warfare. Were you happy with that triple captain on Rashford? Were you happy with the result?
I was. I mean, I can't. I believe if you get like 10 points for your captain and it gets tripled, that's a big result. And
for you, the biggest one was. For you, but for you, you kind of wanted City and Haaland to be quiet against Spurs, didn't you? Really?
Well, Haaland ended up on 8 points, and I can't really ask for any less than that. Do you know? Yeah. It could have been so much worse.
Could have been.
I can't sit here and go, "Oh, I'm so disappointed Haaland didn't get 4 points."
Yeah, because
he could have got a hat trick, and I could have been in the mud even more. And I imagine. A lot of the people that used the triple captainship this week used it on Haaland.
They did. 2 or 3 in the mini league. The top of the Elite, for example, 2 or 3 of them used it on Haaland in the top 10.
A lot of people use the triple captainship.
He was the preferred pick for triple captain. So, but cool. So anyway, Warfare. How are you doing, man? How are things?
Yeah, not bad. I mean, if you want bad FPL advice, you can always ask me for things. It's absolutely fine.
I see you got your team here.
Yes.
Now, is this prior to transfer? Is this
no?
After a transfer?
I've done 1 transfer.
Okay, who's that?
I got rid of the Fulham guy. What's his name? Andreas. I went from him to March.
Solly March? You're not going to captain Solly March.
Why not? Why the hell not? What have I
You are not serious. A team that's got Haaland, Kane against Fulham, Haaland against Wolves, even Salah against Chelsea. De Bruyne against Wolves. I mean, looking at that team, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 5 serious captaincy picks out of Haaland, Kane, De Bruyne, Salah, Almiron. You've gone with Solly March. That is
crazy. Yes.
That is. Are you serious?
I'm thinking about it. I'm not 100% serious. I'm going to be honest. I'm thinking about it. My problem is that I don't know really who else to captain. So Salah against Chelsea at home.
Haaland, mate.
Yeah, I think we all know who to captain this week.
Yeah, you see, people say
City
that every
and
single
Haaland.
game week. I'm someone who doesn't captain Haaland. I didn't captain him last game week either. I think there's value somewhere else at the moment, to be honest with you.
Value somewhere else? Are you not going to be really? Are you not going to be really, really scared?
Of course, I will be, obviously, because if he does get
of going against Haaland.
Yeah, of course, but that's been the story of my life for the past few game weeks now. So yeah,
he's got his goal. City second half looked ridiculously relentless.
Nah, it's only because Spurs were terrible, to be honest with you.
Yeah, Spurs were pretty terrible, to be fair.
Yeah,
but you know, I think you're asking to get asking to get burnt by Captain March.
Right.
It's one thing bringing him in. Okay, it's one thing bringing him in, and who did you take out for him? Sorry, Pereira.
Pereira, yes, the Fulham guy. Yeah.
You know, and it's one thing doing that, but there's another thing being a bit cocky and then captain it. I don't know, man. I don't think I've got the cojones to do that, and I don't think that a serious. Well, I mean, are you looking to massive differential? Where are you in your mini leagues right now in your overall rank?
1.4 million, so not very high.
Yeah, I mean, but 1.4 million. Steve-O was 1.4 million last game week. He's now in the top 1 million. So a jump of over 500,000.
Oh yeah. I've got 500,000 in the past 2 game weeks.
Yeah. So my point is, like, are you doing this for a rank reason, or are you doing this for a fun reason?
Not necessarily fun. So the way I'm looking at it, yes, I expect City to win against Wolves. Yes, I don't expect them to score a lot. And I do expect Brighton to absolutely destroy Leicester away. I really do. And Brighton look really good. So, and if you look now, March in the past 4 game weeks, he got a ton of goals. Ton.
Man, I and that's why you've brought him in.
Yeah.
All right. But you've brought him in and you've given him the armband. That is 2 different things, man. There's a different thing between. I mean, okay, I'm not against captaining low value players, and I don't for 1 minute think that Brighton and Solly March isn't going to score goals. But, and there's a big but, is that if Haaland does haul, the effective ownership of Haaland, and we talked about this previously on the stream and on the show, is that it is a case of protecting your rank, because if Haaland hauls and the majority of people, and they will, captain him, you are going to drop like a brick down the rankings. Unless yes, and that's what I was going to end that with. Unless March at least keeps up with Haaland. Yes. Unless.
You could have made this argument last game week as well. Now, I went with Kane. There was no difference between them, and I actually made a bit of a bigger jump by captaining Kane than Haaland, because he was a bit of more differential. Well, actually, no, that's not true. That's rubbish. Dropped a bit.
I think the majority of people that are bringing in differentials aren't bringing them in with a view to captain them. They're bringing them in just to have them in their team to make those points to make those points the difference between them and their rivals. I don't know how many people this week in particular are going to be bringing in sort of like mid-range players from Brighton, for example, that are, or Newcastle, whoever, you know, who are going to be giving them the captain armband. I mean, it's like me saying to Max, he's on a wild card, he's bringing in players that, you know, are not as popular. You know, he's got Ferguson up front for Brighton, he's got McAllister for Brighton. He's not in any moment going to think about captain one of those players. And I think that you're putting yourself under pressure and at a disadvantage by captaining these players, that, you know, the fringe players or the low ownership players that you bring in as differentials. I think it's a bit of a risk. I mean, form-wise, let me quickly just double-check Solly March.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Max, feel free to come in.
No, just saying, Solly March has been good over the last 4 games, but he didn't eclipse a 6-digit haul for 15 game weeks, I'm pretty sure. So, I understand that.
Let's perspective. The games he was good at, away at Southampton are pants. Okay, very pants. Don't rate him at all. They're falling apart. He scored a goal. He got an assist. Against Arsenal, however, in a 4-2 game, a game that at home where they lost 4-2, he didn't do nothing in 75 minutes. Absolutely nothing. Everton away, another team that are pretty crap. You know, he got a goal and he got bonus points in that. So he got 11 points there. Against Liverpool, Liverpool right now, they are a wounded animal. There's something not right with Liverpool. There's definitely something not right. Behind the scenes, in the dressing room, something ain't right because something ain't clicking on the pitch, and it's not due to injuries. Trust me, it's not down to injuries. They've still got a good enough team to go toe-to-toe with any of the Premier League teams and put in a good performance. They're not putting in a good performance. It reminds me of Man United prior to Ten Hag. The sort of like the disjointed team performance where they're not actually playing as a unit. I do expect Liverpool to turn it around. But I digress. I think that the last 3 returns for Solly March have been against opposition that have had problems or have been weak. And prior to that Southampton game in game week 17, it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 1, 2, 3 games before that, before he got an assist. He got 3 assists 4 assists, no goals in the entire 16 games before that. So if you say 4 assists, no goals in 16 games.
Yeah, that's what I was saying about him prior to game week 15. Has just not done anything.
So your advice
even last season, he was pretty much a dead asset at his price point.
You've got your goggles on. You've got your 3-week goggles on. That's what you've done. And you thought, right, I'm bringing in a player that's in form. He's doing well against the teams he's faced. However, all the points from Brighton are not going to go through Solly March. And he's not on penalties.
No.
Grosses, I think.
So I think that you throwing that armband on him is a bloody big risk. And I would strongly urge you to reconsider that captaincy. Not to have him in your team. I think having him in your team is good because he's low ownership. He's a differential in a good Brighton team. However, you don't need to go double down and captain him. That's my opinion. And I hope that gives a bit of food for thought.
It does. I appreciate that, Jason. It does. Yeah, I'll keep
I just don't think the risk versus the reward is worth it. 90% of the game are going to captain Haaland this week.
FH, so hello everyone in chat. I am reading the comments as well. Shout out to all of you guys here. If you haven't already hit the like button, please hit the like button. It really helps grow the channel and expose our channel to others in the FPL world. I see that Dalipool is here. We've got FH 200,667. 200,667. Beware of Leicester. They have underperformed for several matches now. Yeah, prior to the World Cup, Leicester weren't playing bad football. All right, we are very much aware of the fall from grace or the lack of performances Leicester have been putting in since the World Cup. But we don't forget about Leicester. I mean, they're not. I mean, they've got any moment they could switch around.
That's true.
They have underperformed for several matches now. They will bounce back, says FH. A clean sheet for them would not surprise me. That's, again, why Steve-O considering maybe even playing and using Ward as a goalkeeper as opposed to Kepa this week, who's obviously up again a hard opposition in Liverpool.
Yeah.
So yes, do not discount Leicester. They could flip it around again. They were playing good football prior to the World Cup. Something happened in January. Maybe they don't like the cold weather. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe they don't like the ice. Maybe they don't like the snow. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, let me ask you a different question now. So I will think about the captaincy. It's not 100%.
Please do consider
now,
that.
What do you think about De Bruyne? Because I've had him since the restart and he's been not worth it. Let's put it that way.
Well, it's not been De Bruyne's fault. I would say City have been pretty lackluster is the term I would use. And I think that De Bruyne probably did need a bit of a rest. And he obviously was benched against Spurs. I think he's rested now. And City proved in that second half that they have got the gears to go up. And
So
De
let
Bruyne,
me
I think if you've
explain
got De Bruyne now, if you've got De Bruyne in your team, you don't get rid of him.
Yes, but let me explain why I asked the question. So now we know that United, they've got a double game week coming up, right? So my plan is, after the deadline, go from De Bruyne to another midfielder from United, more than likely Bruno, I'm thinking. And after that, maybe go either keep Bruno or go back to De Bruyne for the double game week that the City have. So that's kind of...
You've got two Man United already. You've got Shaw, you've got Rashford.
Yeah, I know. And I want a third one for the double.
For the double game week, Bruno Fernandes is not a bad shout, to be honest. He's looking like he's in very advanced positions. He doesn't need to sit back anymore because he's got that Casemiro behind him. He's got Fred. He's got Eriksen that's playing that deeper role. I mean, Bruno Fernandes, I mean, he's 9.8, isn't he? Off the top of my head. So, I mean, Bruno Fernandes for me is a very strong consideration for a triple, for a third Man United spot. Certainly you wouldn't trust Martial. You certainly wouldn't trust Weghorst. You certainly wouldn't trust Anthony. Or I mean, Garnacho is cheap, so you maybe trust Garnacho as a cheap way into that third slot. But yeah, I mean, Bruno Fernandes is 9.8, which means he's an awkward price point for a lot of people. That's what puts them off. But since the return after the World Cup, Bruno Fernandes has been putting in some very good performances. So it's not a bad move. I mean, certainly not the worst move you can do. No.
It would waste 2 transfers basically to go back to KDB, but maybe it's worth it.
Maybe for that double game week. Maybe. Yeah. Yes. Go ahead, Max.
Just saying, I know you're reeling off the Man United team there, who you'd avoid, etc. What do you think of Casemiro?
Amazing. Just.
Sorry. What do you think of Casemiro as an FPL asset? That's a better question. I don't think
that's a very good.
How good he is as a player.
It's a very good question because the amount of times he's broken up an attack and it's led to a goal. But generally speaking, he's normally been involved in the attacking phase, but been the assist of the assister. That I think that he's from a footballing point of view, he's a CDM that any team would want to have. But from an FPL point of view, I just think that there's better options in as your third Man United slot. I would actually go a Garnacho over Casemiro if I was going to go sort of like the sub. How much is he 5 million?
4.9.
Yeah, sub 5 million. I'd probably go Garnacho as my third Man United spot as opposed to Casemiro. Player for player, Casemiro is arguably one of United's best players at the moment. But from an FPL point of view, you've got to think points, you've got to think attacking output potential of goals and assists. There's in FPL you don't get rewarded for players that make interceptions, break a play. That if we did, we'll be having a different conversation now. So no, I wouldn't consider him as a third asset. It would be for me. I would even choose De Gea over Casemiro personally because of the save points. Because De Gea's always got saves in him.
Another one I was going to say is, do you think? Obviously, I know you watched the Man United game against Palace. For me, it just looked like Weghorst was stuck in the mud and he wasn't very effective. Do you think there's any chance that against Arsenal, Rashford plays up top?
Against Arsenal
and Garnacho
I see Bruno playing out wide.
Right, okay.
I don't see him playing Garnacho. I think Rashford on the left, Bruno on the right, and I see him playing Weghorst as that target man. And they're going to need energy. How
do you think it changes now with Casemiro banned?
They're going to have to play McFred, aren't they?
Mm.
You're gonna have Fred and McTominay as the hold-in. You're gonna have Eriksen just in front of them,
and Anthony starting on the right again, or
I don't know. He might budge Fernandez out on the right. I don't know. It may start Anthony on the right.
You just think Rashford's going to put on the left?
We're at a stage with United like that. I'm excited about. I mean, oh my God. What was I going to say? I'm losing my train of thought. We're at a stage with United where I'm actually excited because of the fact that we've got in Ten Hag, we've got a manager that is not afraid of mixing things around a little bit to kind of against different opposition, and certainly against City, I think he set up very, very well. Against Arsenal, he'd be very, very mindful of the attack and the pace that Arsenal have got. So I'd imagine he will start Fred and McTominay. Fred being the one that's just going to run around. Probably have him man marking Odegaard, to be honest. But from attacking point of view, I don't know if I would be sure on how I would see United lining up. Just looking through the options. I mean, I do think he's going to start Weghorst up top, straight down the middle. He's going to have Bruno Fernandes on the right hand side, Rashford on the left. He'll have Christian Eriksen just behind, and then you'll have Fred and McTominay as the holding mid. That's how I see. In my mind, how I see Ten Hag setting up Man United. But he could throw a curveball. He could play Anthony and then bring Bruno Fernandes into the centre. Maybe just play Fred and Eriksen, I don't know, and play Bruno behind Weghorst, or maybe not even play Weghorst and start Rashford up top.
Yeah.
And then there's so many different ways he could do it. I personally think that he won't go too risky, and I think he'll keep that experience in Eriksen, and you'll keep Bruno Fernandes, but you'll move him out onto the right hand side, much like he did against City. He won't be an out and out winger. He'll be more of like an inverted sort of style winger, and he'll be cutting in a bit more, providing support, and not going too far out on the wide right, which will mean that Fred and McTominay are going to have a lot of work to do in closing down that space that Odegaard's going to look for, and Wan-Bissaka again, of course, doing his best against Martinelli.
Was really good against Palace.
Wan-Bissaka against Martinelli is going to be a good battle. Shaw against Shaw, I think, will be playing out as a left back, and I think he'll be facing Saka, and I think that Martinez will return. That's how I see it.
So for the front four, are you saying that it's going to be this year prediction? Weghorst up top.
Yes.
Rashford left, Eriksen, Cam, and Bruno right, wing, floating sort of thing.
2 CDMs in Fred and McTominay, and they'll be tasked to mark. I would say they're probably going to be marking Odegaard, and who's the other one? Partey?
Yeah. Or Xhaka, I guess.
Xhaka, I'd imagine, because Xhaka would be the more advanced. Is Xhaka more advanced, or is Partey more advanced?
No, Xhaka's more advanced.
Xhaka's more advanced.
What do you expect the score to be in that match?
I think. That's actually a good segue. Let's go into our predictions. We've been on for an hour now. So let's go into predictions for the game week. We'll get to the Man United game, but first of all, let's talk about the Liverpool-Chelsea game. Not a lot of people, it's crazy to think this, right? But it's this stage of the season, not many people would think that Liverpool and Chelsea owners, or Liverpool and Chelsea assets, are not desirable. From an FPL point of view, it's crazy to think, isn't it?
I was building my defence, and I couldn't find anyone over 5.4 million apart from Trippier that I wanted. How mad is that? Considering you've got like Robertson, Cancelo, Diaz, Laporte.
Look, I mean, you've got Robertson, Cancelo, Reece James. Azpilicueta, all popular picks. Start of the season. I just think it's mental that Liverpool and Chelsea are now not even really talked about from an FPL point of view. But at the start of the game week, we're just going to quickly read out some of the comments saying, haha, infamous FPL says, haha, in the chat. If you think United fans are going to be in a big shock if you do man marking. Well, I mean, KDB was pretty much man marked out of the game by Casemiro. Obviously, Casemiro not playing against Arsenal, I know, but I do think man marking is still very effective if you identify the big players in that team.
You give Odegaard 2 or 3 seconds on the ball in 5 yards of space. How do you think that's going to plan out for you?
If you take Odegaard out of that Arsenal team, if you nullify Odegaard, Arsenal are going to have to literally find the way to get out wide. And I think that plays into United's game plan. I think take Odegaard out of the question, get him man marked the whole game, just get a man on him, whether that be Fred, whether that be McTominay, or take it in turns. Get him man marked. The rest of the other CDM can cover. And you'd also see Eriksen dropping back too to help out in that midfield. I think that's the way to do it. That's the way to deal with Arsenal right now.
The way I
isolate Odegaard.
Is if you've got Odegaard facing the wrong way, that's a great thing. If you've got Odegaard facing your goal with time and a space to pass, you're in trouble. Like if Odegaard is stuck tight by either McTominay or Fred, like don't get me wrong, he can potentially spin him. But the game is so much harder for Arsenal when
it is.
You effectively take their KDB out of that centre attacking position who can spray balls wherever he wants.
I almost feel like Ten Hag's going to say to Man United team in the dressing room, let Arsenal have possession, let them play football, but don't let them get past our CDMs. Let them play in front of our CDMs. Always keep them in front of our CDMs. They can pass it around the back. They can pass it out wide. They can hit it to Saka. They can hit it to Martinelli and go back again to Ben White and across their back line. That's fine. But do not let them play past our CDMs. Sit back, soak up the pressure that Arsenal are going to give you. Arsenal they are going to take the game to United. You know they are. They're going to have a lot of possession. United are good on the transition. We've all seen it. A pass from Bruno or Eriksen can split a defence at any moment. Rashford could be on the end of that. Weghorst will be another outlet for Marcus Rashford. Ball played up to Weghorst. Hold the ball. Watch Marcus Rashford what he's doing, where he's positioning himself. Is he going to be the last man? You're damn right. Sure, he's going to be the last man. He's going to be waiting for that ball. I think if you don't man mark Odegaard, you're opening yourself up to pain and suffering. And I'll be very surprised if you don't see. Is this a United podcast? No, but the question was asked about it, so I was just answering it. Relic returns. Hello to you. KDB will play against Wolves, and Mahrez could be benched. That's a good point that you make there, FH. As Mahrez could be benched on performance, I would not be benching Mahrez, but Pep has proven time and time again. Look what happened with Foden. He was on an absolute purple patch of form with Phil Foden. Again, benches him, plays Grealish. Again, form doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get minutes under Pep Guardiola and that Man City team. And he's played a lot of minutes recently, Mahrez. In fact, I think he played... Did he play 90 or did he play almost 90 minutes? I think he played 90, didn't he? Anyway, someone can tell me in the chat. Anyway, just
coming back to Man City, I had a couple of questions. So if you had Cancelo this week, which I think a few people might do, so it might be a bit...
Yeah, I'll be keeping him, yeah.
Would you be keeping him?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, he didn't start. He didn't start against Spurs, but I think he starts against Wolves. He's rotating him.
So he didn't start against Spurs, right? I'm pretty sure that he only played 45 minutes against.
That's a transfer that can easily backfire on you.
Against Chelsea. He didn't play against Everton.
Well, who are you going to transfer him to then? Who are you bringing in for him?
I'm not. Well, I don't have him anymore.
That's another consideration. Who are you going to bring in? Who's a better option? And also, like Cancelo,
for me, I don't think the defense is an option. That's why I've gone for Edison.
Well, I think the Cancelo still is one to keep hold of. If you've got him in your team, don't get rid of it.
If he doesn't play against Wolves, then what do you do?
Be worried because he's not getting any game time.
I'm already worried as it is. That's why I got rid of it.
I would be absolutely shocked if Cancelo's not on the starting lineup. I would be absolutely shocked. benching him for 2 games in a row, I don't know, man. I don't see that happening. And also, I see Walker coming back in as well. That Lewis got a knock, didn't he, towards the end of the game?
Yes, he did, yeah.
I don't know. I think Cancelo will be back in, but I mean, it could be proven wrong, of course. With Pep, you're never 100% sure of Pep. What you're doing.
And say Pep's going to do this, Pep's going to do that, because we don't know. He just he'll play Ake at left back and just go play John Stones at right back. We're just not surprised at this point. But
yeah,
again,
at this point, why would you even have Cancelo? Yes, he might play. Yes, he might get a clean sheet, but who cares? There's so many good options right now that are cheaper, like Newcastle, like United, like literally whoever you want, like Brighton, whatever. There's no point.
Yeah, the days of the expensive defenders in FPL seem to be over. You know, the likes of Trent, Robertson, not been that great, and even Van Dijk was someone that people were bringing in previous seasons. He's obviously been very, very poor this year, along with a lot of other Liverpool players. And I think that when you look at Reece James, he's been battling with injuries the majority of this season. You've got Cancelo's not really been that threat of years gone by. And I think money can be better spent in midfield and attack, and you can just go with the likes of Luke Shaw. You can go with the likes of Trippier. You can go with the likes of Ben White and have them in your team, in teams that are doing really, really well. The likes of Lewis Dunk, Ben Mee that people are bringing in now. They're good defenders in teams that are playing very solid at the moment. So absolutely correct.
For me, Trippier is the only essential defender in this game right now.
A lot of people are looking to get rid of Cancelo in the chat. FH is on about getting rid of him. Karma's also saying I wouldn't keep hold of him. But again, like FH also mentions, rolling transfers this game week could be very smart. Going into game week 22 and beyond with 2 free transfers, with the possibility of double game weeks coming up. We don't know what's the score is there. He mentions the double game week for United and Leeds is dependent on the FA Cup results. If either side gets a replay in the FA Cup, it will no longer be a double for them. So there's a lot of things to wait and see. So I think having that flexibility, having that second transfer, making sure you're not having to spend -4, -8 to get players in that are playing double could definitely be a big advantage. But yes,
I was just looking at Trippier's points, and this is when you look at his stats, it's unbelievable.
Well, Trippier is this year's Trent Alexander-Arnold.
So Trippier has only had less than 6 points in 4 games this season. He
started at 5 million.
So he's got 9, 8, 8, 12, 7, 12, 11, 2, 9, 6, 7, 7, 5, 8, 0, 2, 6, 7, 7.
And that's why he's 68. That's why he's owned by 68.3% of the FPL managers out there.
I remember a defender outside of Trent, for example.
It's this year's Trent. It's this year's Trent Alexander-Arnold. People have got him for 2.5 million cheaper.
Let me give you one more bit of information on Trippier. He's the 3rd in terms of points. He has almost the same points as Kane. Just think about that. Yeah,
honestly, it's bananas. And I think, to be honest, if you were going to go for a differential captain, if you look at those sort of numbers, I can't even argue against you going for Trippier.
Yeah. I own Perisic. And he's more of an expensive. And Steve-O raised his eyebrow when he saw that I had Perisic in. I probably was a little bit too. I don't know what I thought. In Tottenham, I thought Tottenham. When I see Tottenham attack and Perisic is playing, I see him really involved. I agree. And I was unfortunate to not get something in that. That shot that was blocked by Lewis was ridiculous. He knocked it onto the woodwork. But against Fulham, will he even play? Will Perisic even be in there? I mean, who knows? But moving on. Let's talk about the game. So Liverpool versus Chelsea. I am going to say that this is Liverpool's time to shine. It won't be an amazing game of football. I don't think it's going to be goals galore in this game, but I do see Liverpool winning it. It's at Anfield. It's against Chelsea, a team that I just think it's the tale of 2 poor teams, isn't it?
Yes.
2 poor teams. I think Liverpool have got the ability to beat Chelsea. I'm going to go with 2-1 because Liverpool are not keeping the clean sheet. they always find a way of conceding a goal. But I do think that Liverpool have got enough in them to get 2 goals. Mohamed Salah could be the one that gets the brace. Who knows? But Liverpool 2, Chelsea 1. What's your guys' thoughts on that?
1-1. 0-0 for me.
0-0.
Yeah, I think that game is a poor game, and I think 1-1 is a fair assessment as well. But I think the attacking talent at the minute is just not providing, and it could just be one of those games that you just like, why have they even put this on Sky Sports?
No, they will.
It's on BT Sport. It's on BT Sport.
BT Sport. Sorry,
it's on. Yeah. It's the lunchtime.
It's just I think it may just be one of those games. It's just a drab affair that would just
could be the game that brings Cody Gakpo into managers' minds. If he gets something in this game, I can see people bringing in Cody Gakpo. Again, I don't often say good things about Liverpool, but I do see them having enough in their tank to beat a poor Chelsea team. 1-0, 2-1 wouldn't surprise me. But again, from a defensive point of view, Liverpool have always seemed to have this season a mistake or an error somewhere along the way. Could be one of those games where it goes into half-time 1-0 either way. Chelsea might get a goal early. Liverpool have to come back from behind and get the win. Or Chelsea get an equaliser in the second half and then Liverpool have to find a way of getting that second goal. But I do see them winning 1-0, 2-1 Liverpool. Either way, I wouldn't be surprised. Warfare?
I said 1-1.
1-1, cool. And Max, you said that it would be a draw.
I'm sticking with 0-0. Usually I would go for like both teams to score 2-2s in these sort of games, but I just don't think either team is firing on all cylinders at the minute. And
Danny Paul's got Gakpo in ready. Could it be that people that have got Gakpo, this could be the fixture that Gakpo, return some points for you guys. I hope so. 8 million. I mean, he's a good way into that Liverpool midfield. You talk about not having to own Salah, not having to own KDB, that amount of money that you can save in defence by not having the likes of Robertson, Reece James, and beyond 6 million plus, Cancelo, 6 million plus defenders. That money can be thrown into midfield. That could be the difference between having a 6.5 midfielder or a Cody Gakpo if he starts going on a run of form for Liverpool, which let's be honest, I would say the majority of FPL managers out there do expect Liverpool at some point this season to become a better team and to come good again. And their fixtures aren't awful. In fact, let me quickly look what Liverpool's fixtures are.
This season is so strange in the fact that this is probably the only season that I've played.
The fixtures are insane. In fact, Liverpool, I'm surprised. I'm not surprised, but fixtures wise, Liverpool are very after this Chelsea game, got Wolves, Everton, Newcastle, Crystal Palace, Man United, Bournemouth, Fulham. A nice block of fixtures. And they play United at home. And then they've got Man City, Arsenal in 29-30. And then from that point onwards, they've got a decent run. You've got Leeds, 31, Nottingham, Forest, West. Sorry. I drank some of this juice that's got these tropical juice, and it's got the bits of the fruit in it, and it's all the bits, the grits of the goes down my throat and it makes me cough. Anyway, I'm going to go.
Let me just go back to Liverpool a sec. So, you're saying obviously that they've got some good fixtures coming up, right?
Yes, yeah.
Let's look at the fixtures that they've just played. Lost 3-0 to Brighton. Lost 3-1 to Brentford.
Brighton's an informed team though. They are
But
informed.
you still shouldn't be getting pumped 3-0 at Brighton. And it could have been 7.
Shouldn't be getting pumped 3-0, no.
It could have been a lot worse. Brentford 3-1. They got
Brentford are in form at the moment.
Again, but you still just because a team's in form doesn't mean the likes of Liverpool, Champions League winners, should be losing 3-1 to Brentford. And
but their teams, they are both of those teams that you've just mentioned there are teams that are player for player worse than their opposition, but as a team are playing much more there's so much that you get from having cohesion and players fighting for each other and working together to help each other in terms of pressing, closing down, helping each other when one player's out of position, another player busting his neck to get in there to help support him. There's so much to be said for team performance, not the individual performance, the team performance. And it's the same with Pep Guardiola. You know, you see him, like, he's screaming on the sidelines. If, you know, Phil Foden or Grealish, they're scoring goals, getting assists, but if they're not running back and they're not marking where they should be marking, or they're not helping out, you know, the likes of, you know, their fullbacks, you know, they're going to get absolutely rinsed in the dressing room afterwards because they've not done their job. And that's the difference between an 11 of players that are working as a unit and a team of superstars or very, very good players. Like Liverpool, they've got player for player better players, but if they're not fighting, that's the same with Man United over the last decade or so. You can bring in a superstar player, a world-class player, or you can bring in a player that's performed in either the Premier League or other leagues out there, top leagues out there, but bring them into a team that's not working together. They soon become average. They soon become lost. They soon become forgotten. I mean, it's almost a joke at United. They've brought players that have just essentially just ruined their careers by going to Man United. You know, and again, if you've not got that team ethos, and I would say Liverpool right now haven't got that team ethos. Chelsea right now, they haven't got that team ethos. You know, Man United have just started to recently find that team ethos. Arsenal, a great example. Arsenal have not got player for player the best team in the Premier League. But from a team ethos point of view, they are absolutely, literally putting their bodies on the line for Mikel Arteta. They're doing absolutely everything that the manager wants from them. Each and every single position, they're doing their job. They're working as a unit. And the same with Liverpool against Brentford, Brighton. They are literally doing. They've got a game plan and they're going and they're performing as to that game plan. So I would say Brentford and Brighton. Yeah, those two fixtures Liverpool lost to. Yes, the manner of which they lost is obviously concerning. They both conceded three goals against both of those teams. However, you know, I don't think it's like a massive shock to everybody that an informed team beat an out of form team is what I'd say to that.
I think the difference between Liverpool and Man City is Man City's squad depth is so large that if players aren't grafting and they're not performing, Pep just subs them.
Yeah.
If Pep's having a bad game, he stays on for 90 minutes. Do you know that's the kind of comparisons you have to make between
they're
the
fighting
two
for their places. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. And like Arsenal have got this spirit because they've been nowhere near the league for the past 15 years, and they've been trying to scrape top four for however long. And I think that they've got a boost because this is kind of brand new to the set of players that they've got, and they're riding that wave. And I mean, like Liverpool have lost 1-0 to Forest, and they lost 2-1 to Leeds, and they've taken 4 defeats to bottom half teams in the past 8 game weeks. I mean, that's just simply not good enough from a Liverpool perspective.
Yeah, and things are going to have to change, but they haven't got, like you said, they haven't got the players to bring.
They don't have that strength in depth.
Yeah.
To change
make an example of a player that's underperforming. Right, you can sit on the bench for 2 weeks. You know, we're going to bring in someone else.
Can I be the voice of reason for a second? Do you guys want to finish the predictions tonight, or?
Oh, sorry, yeah.
Until tomorrow morning.
Bournemouth, Nottingham Forest. 1-0 to Bournemouth.
Yes.
I'm going to go opposite. I'm going to go 1-0 to Nottingham Forest. Max?
I'm going to go 3-2 to Bournemouth. I think these are the sort of scrappy relegation battles.
They're going to score 2 goals away.
Wow.
I just think the relegation battles that are scrappy and they end up having goals.
I saw on Nottingham Forest. I do want them to stay up. I really do. I actually have a whole new respect to Jesse Lingard after watching an interview that he did against on the CEO. And if you haven't watched it already, the CEO, I can't remember the name of the YouTube channel now. It was something called like the CEO. I linked it in the Discord last night.
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah,
very good interview, kind of touching on his life at United, the way he was treated at United under different managers, and then obviously his personal life, moving then from obviously United to West Ham, his performance there, and obviously then going from Man United to Nottingham Forest. It was actually a really interesting perspective on players that you don't really look at when you're a fan of the sport. You don't really think of the personal lives of the players. You don't really think of what's going on behind the scenes in the training ground, or the dressing room. And it really kind of made me understand a little bit more, certainly the pressures and the sacrifices that these players have to go under to, certainly from a young age, especially with Lingard, going through the academy at United, and sort of like just seeing things from that side of it was really interesting. So I would recommend watching it. But anyway, moving on. Did you give your prediction, Warfare, on this Bournemouth?
I did, yes. I said 1-0 for Bournemouth.
1-0, yeah, okay. And Max thinks that Bournemouth are going to crazily destroy Nottingham Forest. I'm the only one that thinks that Nottingham Forest is going to win.
3-2.
I'm the only one that thinks that Nottingham Forest is going to win. The people in the chat singing Bournemouth. Leicester Brighton, a game that everyone's, I think, seeing Brighton as winners. Winners.
Yes.
Except Steve, who thinks they're going to keep a clean sheet.
I don't know if he's just saying that just to wind me up. Brighton, I do think will win 2-0. 2-0 to Brighton. Thoughts, Max?
Yeah, I would say exactly the same. 2-0.
Warfare?
3-1 for Brighton.
Oh, clean sheet knockout. And then we move on to Southampton versus Aston Villa. A game that I have absolutely got no interest in whatsoever. I will not be watching it, even though I can't watch it. It's 3 o'clock kickoff anyway. I have absolutely no idea. In fact, I'm going to go 0-0 in this game. I'm going to go both teams cancel each other. Maybe Aston Villa to win 1-0. I'm going to go Aston Villa win 1-0 away at Southampton. Max?
1-1.
1-1. Nice and easy. Warfare?
2-1 to Southampton.
2-1 Southampton. Okay. And then we've got West Ham versus Everton. God.
Oh, God. That must be the most boring game.
No, that game and the Villa-Southampton game, probably the worst 2 games to watch, I would say.
Wow.
Well, you never know, they might have loads of goals in. So
0-0. I'm going to start with that.
Karma Baby says that Villa will be wearing their 3rd kit in the Southampton Villa game, and they haven't won in 14 games with that kit. Wow. So what was your prediction? Sorry, guys. The West Ham Everton 0-0 and Max.
I mean, I think Frank Lampard gets sacked if he loses this one. Actually, I'm going to go out on a limb and say if either of managers lose this game, they get sacked. So if Moyes loses, he gets sacked, and if Lampard loses, he gets sacked.
Yeah, so it's going to be
they've just signed Danny Ings, haven't they?
Yeah,
West Ham have,
yes, West Ham, yeah.
And Forest
Moyes up against his old club. Lampard struggling to hold on. I'm going to go West Ham 1-0.
Yeah, I was about to say the same thing. I don't want to be boring, but I was going to say West Ham 1-0 as well. And Lampard to be sacked.
Crystal Palace versus Newcastle United.
That's a tough game to call, I think.
Newcastle for me all day long.
Yeah.
3 bonus points. That's guaranteed. But does he score a free kick?
Don't say that. Because I'm going to go captain to Trippier then. Don't say that.
It won't be an easy game for Newcastle, but I think they'll edge it 1-0.
Yeah, I'm with you. 1-0 as well for Newcastle.
I think this might. I can't believe I'm predicting 0-0s, but I think this might be a 0-0.
Wow. Okay. Then we move on to Sunday's games. These are more nicer than the Saturday games. Leeds versus Brentford. I think this could be a really good game for your Ivan Toney owners or Bremo owners out there. Brentford against Leeds. I think there'll be goals in this game for both teams. I'm going to go with a 3-2 or 3-1 to Brentford. A high-scoring game. I'm going to go 3-2 to Brentford. Max?
See, this is the game that you want to predict goals in. I agree. See, I'm going to go 3-1 to Leeds.
Oh, the opposite way.
But I'm going to say...
Brentford are in form, man. They're brilliant.
I think Brentford are going to get a red card.
Wow.
I also think that Leeds' player Willie Nonta, I think his name is.
Gnotto.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah.
Gnotto.
I think he's going to do really well and get a goal.
Wow.
That's my prediction. Now we'll be betting on it. So let's
interesting. Warfare. What are you going to go? Which way are you going to go?
I'm going to go with a 2-2.
2-2. Wow. Okay.
We've all gone a different way. That's interesting.
We've all gone different ways. Okay. Then obviously the big The games are coming up now. We've got Manchester City title race now on, trying to clamour some points back. Obviously with the later game, Arsenal Man United, they're going to want to win this game more than like any other game. They're going to need to get those 3 points. Wolves not able to score, or certainly they're short of basically goal threat, aren't they, Wolves? Yeah. Are they going to hold out against Man City? I think a draw for them would be the perfect result. I think Man City got too much in the tank. Second half display against Southampton. Oh fuck! God, I'm going to say all the teams in the Premier League against Spurs proved to me that they've got the ability to just wipe teams apart. Man City 3, Wolves 0.
2-0 for me. I think it's going to be tighter. I don't think it's going to be like a 5 or 6-0. I think it's going to be tight. 2-0.
2-0. That's a tight 2-0, is it? Warfare?
Well, a tight 2-0 in terms of Man City.
I'm in two minds, so I'm going to say 3-0. However, there's the chance of a disaster for City in this match. And by that, I mean I would not be shocked if they get the red card and do not win the game.
Wow, okay. Another red card prediction. Okay, 3. Okay. And finally, on the Monday evening, we've got Fulham up against Spurs. Spurs, of course, licking their wounds after that second half performance where they completely just fell apart as a team and got blitzed. They need to get back to a run of form. And against Fulham, it's a derby. Fulham have been they've been pretty good. So I think this is going to be a two teams that are going to go at each other. You're going to see Fulham having spells in that game that are going to put Spurs and Lloris. Let me just say for 1 minute, any Spurs fans in the chat, I don't know if Bruce still here listening in, but Lloris, what the hell has happened to Lloris? He's awful.
Yeah, terrible.
He's been shocking for at least the last few game weeks at minimum. He's been at fault for a lot of Spurs goals that they've conceded. He should never have conceded against Mahrez. No way.
He'll pull off like 3 or 4 saves that you're like, you should never ever save that, and then drop one in the back of his net. It's just yeah.
Have you seen Buna's tweets about it? It's just hilarious if you follow him, like advising him to just quit football.
I just would literally want to see anyone else in my goal if I was a Spurs fan now. I'd be like, can we just get anyone in? Right.
I'm going 2-1 Fulham.
2-1 to Fulham. Okay, Warfare.
I'm going to say 3-1 for Spurs.
3-1 to Spurs. Okay, I'm going to go 2-1 to Spurs. I think they'll concede, and I think they'll just about get the result they need to keep them in the top half. Where are they in the table? If they lose that game, where would they be? Let me have a quick look. They're 5th. I was thinking, for some reason, I thought Brentford.
If they lose to Fulham, they drop
Brentford.
1 place.
Guys, I actually thought Brentford and Brighton were above Tottenham. Without looking at it, I actually thought
Brighton
Tottenham.
I think
I thought Tottenham were worse off than what they are. They're actually 5th in the league. They're 33 points. But there's a big but. They've played 2 more games than Brighton. And they're 3 points ahead of Brighton, and they've played 1 more game than Brentford. So there's definitely movement in the charts. It's Liverpool.
Let's not forget who's 6th in the league. Fulham.
Let's not forget his 9th. Let's not forget his 9th.
If they lose to Fulham, they drop to 6th immediately.
Let's not forget. Because Fulham would go above
so if Tottenham lose that game, they stay on 33 points. Fulham would go above them on the same amount of games played. Brighton, if they win, they would go above
Tottenham as well.
Yeah.
They would also go above. Yeah, they would also go above. Brentford wouldn't, but they would have another game in hand. And Liverpool wouldn't, but they would have 2 games in hand. They need to win. They need to win against Fulham. It's a big game. 5th versus 6th, massive game for them.
I genuinely can't remember the last time Spurs won. I'm trying to think.
I can't believe they're 5th.
I'm trying to wear that out. I don't know how that's happened.
And the reason they're 5th is they played 2 more games. They've played 2 more games. That's the reason why they're 5th.
They beat Palace recently, but apart from that was a weird one as well. They were getting battered, and then they just came out and just got all the goals. Against
Palace. Palace, who's not known for necessarily capitulating. They did capitulate in that game. But anyway, that's been the predictions of the upcoming game week. I hope you've enjoyed them, and I'm sure that a few bets may be placed. Steve-O, I don't think he's doing any bets anymore, but I know some of the Elite FPL community are pretty good at the old betting. Gamble responsibly, everybody. But yeah, that's pretty much sums up this game week. So captains, are you going to captain Solly March?
No, he's going to go with Trippier.
I moved it to Trippier, yes.
Oh, okay. Max, are you going to captain Haaland?
Yeah, I can't not. This is not the game week to gamble, I don't think.
Anyone not captaining Haaland this week, please put it in the chat. I'll be interested to see what your thoughts are. I'm going to be captaining Haaland, to be honest with you. There's not really much else that I've, KDB maybe, but
if he bangs and you don't have him, you just drop him 500,000 places straight away.
Exactly. Exactly. If he gets a brace or a 2 goals and an assist in that game, which he could easily do.
Man, you guys are no fun. You got to take a bit of a risk every now and then.
What do you mean I'm no fun? Have you seen my wildcard team?
Right. I'm gonna probably end that here now, guys. Thanks so much. Tomorrow, will there be a deadline stream? I doubt it. I doubt there will be a deadline stream purely because I'm not making any moves or any transfers, so I'm not waiting on anything. I'm not waiting on any news to come in to see if I'm going to transfer anyone out. My bench is probably not going to change. Quick question for both of you, very quickly. My team, would you, in my FPL team, would you play Martinelli and bench one of Mitoma or Mahrez?
Oh, no, you can't bench Mahrez.
I would not bench Mahrez, no.
Or Mitoma versus Martinelli, who would you play over them? Mitoma away at Leicester, who's going to be guaranteed minutes. I feel you play the majority of the game, if not all of it, versus Martinelli, who's, So
what score did you predict, Jace, for Man United Arsenal?
Did I even? I don't even think I predicted that. What did I say it was going to be? I said it was going to be.
Did we do that game?
Did we even do that game? I don't think we did it.
No,
I don't think we did that game. We didn't do that game. Arsenal versus Man United.
Biggest game of the weekend. Didn't predict it.
Really. Come on, then. Let's do it. Come on.
Oh my god. I honestly don't know. I think this game to me all depends on the first 15 minutes. I know it sounds crazy.
If you had to put a score prediction on, I know it's difficult, but level-headed.
1-1.
No, I'm saying 1-1 as well.
My heart says Man United to win 2-0.
What did your head say though? That's the important thing.
Man United to lose 2-1.
Right, and you said 2-0 for Brighton, right? Or is that what you said?
Yes, I did, yeah.
Well, that makes it even more difficult then, because if you just said like 1-1 maybe, then Matoba's maybe the better bet. But if you're thinking Arsenal are going to score 2.
I do think Arsenal have got the ability to win that game 2-1, especially without Casemiro in the team. But I think if Ten Hag can isolate and minimise the impact of Odegaard, I think we could win that. I think we could win it. But 2-0 to Man United would be a dream. I feel this 2-0 could happen.
Does Steve or Dan have Martinelli?
The reason I see 2-0 happening is if we get a goal, if we get an early goal, like if we get a counter-attack or whatever, and we get a goal, that point then Arsenal have to come at us even more. They're going to go out to get that equaliser. We could easily break again and catch them. That's why I think 2-0 could definitely be a result. But it would not surprise me if Arsenal win that 2-1. If I have to say a prediction, I'm going to go with my heart. I'm going to go Man United to win 2-0, but it's completely biased. It's a completely biased opinion.
Do Dan or Steve have Martinelli?
Let's play Martinelli, I would say. Don't risk it. I mean...
We'll look at it this way, right? Because you basically, your rivals with Dan and Steve, that's the main thing. Do they have Martinelli?
Yes.
Okay, so if you bench Martinelli and he bangs, then you're losing your advantage over those two guys, right? So the safer play is probably to play Martinelli. Also, if Stevo's playing Ward, you bench Matoma scores, you'll be obviously a bit upset about that. However, that wipes out Steve-O's clean sheet. So I think the safest play is play Martinelli, bench Matoma. However, if you want to go a bit riskier, you could play Matoma. But I just think if Brighton score, Steve-O's clean sheet is gone. And you basically...
You know what? You're right. You're right. I'm gonna bench Martinelli. There we go. Right. On that note, I'm gonna end it there. Thank you so much to Max. Thank you so much to Warfare for coming on and chatting with me. And anyone else that, if you see a stream go up, come on, talk to me on Discord, discord.gg/Elite FPL. The link is in the description. Be always great to hear your perspectives and your thought processes going into each and every game week. Follow us on Elite FPL on Twitter. And subscribe to the channel if you haven't already subscribed, and hit that like button if you've enjoyed the show. Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate you coming on, and see you again
Jason.
soon.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Cheers, guys. Take care.
Bye.
See ya.
The dark